One. What's going on, guys? We're gonna try to do this in one take today, man. How I picked the business idea that actually works. So how did I do As I Am Candle Co? How did I get straight to the music? How did I try all these things to get the idea that works? We're gonna talk about that. I got four points on here that I want to talk about. And yeah, let's get into it. How did I pick the idea that works? So how did I decide to do candles? So the first thing you can do to kind of pick an idea that works, or you have an idea from a business, one thing that you can look at is trends. So for me, when I was making candles, and this will go into the second point as well, but when I was making candles, candles is something that's popular. Candles is something that people like to do. I think when I also made candles at the time, you did have places, like I lived in Miami, you had places, I think like Candleland Miami, and like these little candle places that, you know, you could go and make candles and different things like that. And it was something that I liked as well. So you can go by what's popular, like with TikTok and Instagram, like people creating content, people doing videos like this. You kind of can go with what's popular because you know that those things work, right? So sometimes trends are good because you know that there is a market for that already. You just have to figure out if that's a market you want to get into. So that's the first thing, finding a trend. You can see what's hot, what's popular. Like I remember it was the era of drop shipping. People still do like the drop shipping thing, but I know like that was a big thing for a while. It's drop shipping. You know what I'm saying? So figuring out how to drop ship might have been the thing you want to do. Or like people was doing the TikTok dances and they making money every month because, you know, they swimming like fishes and, you know, whatever it is, you know, that's what they doing. So those trends, you can follow those things and say, hey, okay, I can do this. There's a market for that. Let me figure out how to do that, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what do people around you like? So this might not be a social media trend kind of thing, but it might be, what is a trend in my circle? What is a trend in my community? And this could vary from community to community. If you, what I do for a living, you know, driving trucks and stuff like that, or vans, I'm in the country a lot. I see a lot of them, they selling chickens and eggs and wood and stuff like that. But that's something that's in their community that people need. You know, it's a guy, he has like a chicken farm, and that's what they do. They sell chickens. You know what I mean? They sell eggs. You know what I'm saying? So it's figuring out, what do people around you like? What do people around you need? Find a hole for that and fill it. With candles, when I started to do candles, I knew that candle was like a luxury brand. So that's not necessarily something somebody needs. So when it comes to like seasonal things and stuff like that, it'll do well. But in times when people, money might not be, you know, super up, that might struggle a little bit because it's more of a luxury thing or a seasonal thing. So find out what people around you like. Find out what people around you need. But I knew when I did candles, I knew a lot of people around me like candles, as well as I also like candles. And me being a male and a black male, I knew that wasn't something that a lot of men and black men did. So I felt like that would separate me, you know, from the pack. Does it make sense what I'm saying? So what do people around you like? What is the trends? The third thing, based on the answer to the first two, then you can kind of narrow it down. So based on those two things, you can either find what you're most interested in, or you find something that you can stick to and invest in. So out of those, you know, two things, I found something like, okay, this is something, I did the research on it. I feel like it's a good market fit, but I feel like it's also could be a good fit for me. And you also have to kind of factor in how long is it going to take to be able to do whatever said thing is. So you do your market research. So all market research is find other people who make candles, find other people who sell chickens, find other people who do the things you do, see how long it took them to grow whatever it is. You know, you can ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, and then kind of get a measure. Okay, if I started this venture from absolutely zero today, how long would it take me to be profitable in said venture? Or how long would it take me to get good in said venture? Or how long before I can charge for said venture? And that's when like getting the reps in and doing the work and stuff like that, that's when that comes in, because then you can say, okay, if I do 100 candles, you know, I can charge after 100. Or if I do 25, I can charge after 25, or whatever. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So form your answers based on what the trends are, what people around you like, and different things like that. Then you can find out which one you're most interested in and which one you're going to be able to stick to the longest, or stick to the most, or you're willing to put the most time in. So like for some people who do like day trading and things like that, I see that, you know, people can be very profitable in day trading, but it takes you 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get really good at that. So whatever you're doing, are you willing to spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years? If not, then you might want to try something else that maybe I don't need 2, 3, 4, 5 years of experience to do, or I'm okay with doing that. So you kind of got it. You kind of gauge it based on those metrics. How much time do I want to invest in it? How much capital will it take me to grow this thing? Am I gonna like this enough to stick with it long term? And am I gonna be able to be consistent with it, right? So that's number 3. Number 4 is personal interest. So like I said before, you can do it based on trends, you do what people like, but you can also do what you like. Like, it might be something that you do that might not be common for other people. You know, I know growing up, you know, anime is a big thing now, but when I was growing up, it was still a big thing, but it's like way bigger than what it was. So if you were a person that watched anime, sometimes anime kids got picked on. Sometimes, you know, because that wasn't a cool thing. You know, even though people watch anime and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, it was like a subset of people who watch anime. Not everybody watches anime. It's a big thing now, but back then it was a subset. So if I'm in that community, this could be profitable idea, but this might not be for all of my friend group. It might be for a subset. You get on YouTube, it might be people who do like knitting videos. That might be something that you're interested in, but that's not like a large subset of people. But you can monetize that if you so choose. So you can choose your personal interest, but again, you have to gauge it on how much time is it going to take me to invest in this. If it's something that you like, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to do it a long time, which is cool. And then, you know, what's going to be the cost of this? How much, like I said, how much time am I going to invest in it? Is it something I'm going to stick to long term? Is it something I'm going to be able to be consistent with? You know, so these are some of the ways that you're able to kind of gauge what business to pick. Let me see. Did I have anything else? Yeah, that's really it. So everything you're doing is you gauging based on your input. What you can do, how long you're going to be able to do it, how much it's going to cost you to do it, and are you going to be consistent and stick with that? So if you're able to answer those 4 questions, I think, with like 1 a yes or 2 with like an amount that you're willing to spend, then I think that you'll be good. I think that's a viable idea. That's how I picked the ideas I did. I started doing things that I was interested in, and there are other people that were interested in it. But I also, now, moving forward, if I would ever pick a business venture, I probably do something that I know that other people need, as opposed to something that I just like. Because if it's something that I just like, it might take a longer time to grow, as opposed to if it's something that people need, it'll probably grow a lot quicker. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I probably scale it a lot quicker because it's a need that people have, as opposed to something that I just like. Not saying you can't do both, because you do need to be able to invest in something that you want to invest into and that you'll be able to spend time doing. But these are things that I think about if I was to start another business today, or based on the experience that I've had with, you know, trying to grow my side hustles and different things like that. So how I picked the business idea that actually worked, trends, what do people around me like, based on the answers for those 2, figuring out if it's something that you can invest in, be consistent with, etc. Things I also like, because that'll help me, you know, invest in it long term. And that's not always a business, quote unquote. It could be fitness, which is a brand. It could be, you know, being an athlete, which is a brand. It could be acting, which is a brand. So finding these different things, engaging it based on that. All right, that's all I got. If you made this far in the video, drop a thumbs up. Till next time, peace.